Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Chhoda and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time, where I talk to you about 3 things you can do with your money. Now, before I get into this, let me be clear and tell you that all of this is my personal opinion, my personal journey about money, because money is a deeply personal subject. Especially at this time, a time when all of us are struggling for money. So money essentially means different things to different people, but I'm going to talk to you about my journey, how I went from having nothing to having more money than I need, quite honestly, and having my money work for me as opposed to me working for my money. Now, before we get into this video and before I dig deep into these 3 principles that I'm going to talk to you about, I do think it's important for you to watch the video on the 3 principles of wealth creation. I'll link to that in the description here. And the 3 principles of wealth creation is essentially a fundamental building block for you to watch before we get into the 3 things you can do with money. Because once you go through those 3 principles, everything I'm about to share with you in this video will take that knowledge, that insight to a whole new level and give you a clear idea on what you should be doing with your money. So with that being said, let's get started. Before I get started, if you're not an existing subscriber yet, please consider subscribing below. Click the subscribe button and also enable notifications so you get an instant update about future videos that I release. Also, if you learn something new, I would really appreciate it if you can click the like button, because that does help me out a lot. That does help the YouTube algorithm, and that would be a favor to me. Thank you so much, and let's go ahead and get started with the training. There are 3 things that you can do with your money. The first is spend money. The second is save money. And the third is invest money. Now, like I mentioned, I was going to share my original journey in this video. And when I started making money in the beginning, for me personally, my level of self-worth, my level of self-confidence was essentially identified with how much money I made. There were months where I made more money. I felt I was successful. I felt I was worthy. There were months where I made less money and then I felt unworthy. I felt unsuccessful. I think fundamentally, I'm speaking for myself here. I think because of the way a lot of us are raised, we have what is essentially a messed up, a screwed up relationship with money. A lot of us are led to believe that money is a measure of our self-worth. Again, I'm speaking for myself here. Money is a measure of our success. Money is a measure of our happiness. And to a certain extent, money is directly correlated with happiness. I have done another video where I've talked about the link between money and happiness, and there's a certain income level beyond which money is actually earning money is not directly related to happiness, but saving more money is in fact related to happiness. So I'll link to that as well, and so you can go ahead and check out that video as well. But as I started to make more money, I found that I had more money than I needed for my day-to-day necessities, for rent, for food, for gas, for utilities. Once you get to a point where you have more money than you need to satisfy your basic demands, that's when our knowledge of money really kicks in. Because what I've found is, I've talked to a lot of my friends, my colleagues, my clients. Once you start making more money, whether it's through your business, whether it's through your salary, maybe you invested in some stocks, maybe you inherited money, whatever the case might be, knowing what to do with the money and knowing how to manage money is in many ways more challenging. It requires you to have more emotional, more mental fortitude than simply earning money. Because here's why. I found that when I was starting to earn money, all I had to do was to earn a paycheck, pay my taxes, and then I had to pay rent. I had to buy food. I had to pay my utility bills. I had to keep the lights on. Then I had a car payment, and that was pretty much it. After that, I had some money left over, and I was like, let me invest it in the stock market, or let me try this, that, and the other. But once you start to make a significant amount of money by way of savings, that's when the real knowledge finally kicks in. In fact, if you have the knowledge that I'm about to share with you now, you can actually take money that you could save and invest it and grow and become wealthy. Because becoming wealthy basically means having your money working for you and having your money essentially work for you to generate enough passive revenue to, at the very least, pay your bills each month. In other words, you don't have to work another day in your life, but the money keeps coming in because your money keeps working for you, and that's the position that I'm in right now. So let's go back to spending money, saving money, and investing money. As far as spending money is concerned, the biggest mistakes I've personally made and the biggest mistakes I've seen other individuals make is spending money on things that do not generate a return, that do not bring value. In other words, spending money on things like video games, spending money on expensive clothes, spending money on expensive cars that you don't need, and spending money on the kind of things that will only bring you instant gratification. One of the fundamental principles of money that I've learned in my life is if you're willing to have delayed gratification, in other words, if you're willing to forego that fancy car, if you're willing to forego those fancy clothes and those fancy things that give you instant satisfaction, and say, you know what, I'm going to make my money work for me. I'm going to save it. I'm going to invest it. That gives you longer term growth in terms of your money, and that allows you to be wealthy in the long term because you're no longer concerned about a credit card payment.
Congratulations!
You're now making choices between, hey, do I buy a rental property or do I buy a stock which has fallen? Do I invest in a business or do I do something that makes my money grow? For me, as I was building my financial future, as I was spending money, and even today, by the way, as I spend money, I ask myself, is this something that's optional or is this something that's necessary? Something that's optional is simply something you can do without. Something that's necessary is something that you simply have to pay, whether it's rent, whether it's utilities, whether it's buying food. So if something is necessary, you simply have to come up with the money to pay for it, whether it's through your work, and in this case, we're talking stimulus checks, we're talking unemployment benefits. And if something is optional, you can ask yourself, hey, can I let this go? Can I not do it? Or can I do it at some point in time in the future when I have money that I can play around with? You see, the goal should be to try and save money and then invest money. I often get asked, hey, I have $1,000 to invest. How should I invest it? The answer to that question is it depends. It depends on your own personal situation. I will be covering this in a little bit more detail because this again goes back to the mindset of money, to the psychology of money. But step one is to earn money and then you spend that money on necessary items, on optional items. Step two is to start saving money. You have to save money before you invest money. Now, there are a lot of different theories about this. There are a lot of different beliefs out there. But I personally believe, this is what I've done, is you need to have at least 6 months of savings in your bank account. In other words, if your income was to just stop, you would have 6 months of savings in your bank account where you can now pay your rent, pay your utilities, buy food, make all the necessary payments that you need to make. So once you have 6 months worth of savings, then you can say, all right, let me go ahead and start investing some of my money. Now, as far as investing money is concerned, there's short-term investing, which is subjected to short-term capital gains tax, and there's long-term investing, which is subjected to long-term capital gains tax. You can invest in stocks, you can invest in gold, you can invest in real estate, you can invest in other businesses, you can do forex. There's all sorts of things that can be done. But when it comes to investing, my advice would be invest only in something that you clearly understand, because it is your responsibility, it is your obligation to understand what you're investing in. You need to appreciate, you need to like, and you need to be interested in what you're investing in. Don't just invest in something because you want to make a quick profit. The numbers will catch up with you eventually. For me personally, I enjoy numbers. I enjoy doing different things when it comes to investing. I enjoy doing the numbers on a rental property. I do options trading. I do many different things that essentially allow me to get a return on my money simply because that's something that I enjoy. Find something that you enjoy. It could be something as simple as starting your own business, but find something that allows you to invest money in something that then allows you to grow that money. But remember, you do not want to invest money unless you have some amount of savings in the bank. If you're going to try and invest $1,000, the question you should ask yourself is, hey, do I have 6 months of savings set aside before I can go ahead and invest that $1,000? It is only when you have a financial buffer, a financial safety net, that you can now go ahead and start investing, go ahead and get to the next level in terms of financial freedom. There are other factors such as who's helping you. Do you have some mentors that are helping you? Do you have your spouse who's supporting you? Do you have your family who's supporting you? Do you have other sources of income? Do you have dividends, or do you have other passive income coming in from stocks? So there are a lot of factors to consider. At the end of the day, you need to ask yourself, what is it that allows me to sleep well at night? Because I can tell you this, if you gamble your money, or if you do some short-term trading in things that you don't understand and you lose money, it's going to cause you all sorts of physical, mental, and emotional stress, and you won't be able to sleep at night. For me, everything I do, I ask myself a simple question. can I sleep well at night knowing that I invested in this? If the answer is yes, I do it. And then I follow certain parameters, I follow certain guidelines when I invest, and I advise you, so should you. Please don't invest in something that you don't fully understand. Please don't become a victim to scams out there, because there are a lot of scams out there. And please, please, please don't waste money, especially if you're going to get your stimulus checks and you're going to get unemployment benefits. Find a way to create a cash buffer for yourself, because if there's one thing this entire situation has taught us, it is that we need to have a financial buffer, a cash buffer, because in the end, we are all responsible for ourselves. I hope this video was beneficial. If you learned anything new in this video, please click the like button below. I release videos at 2 p.m. East Coast time most days of the week. Also, please click the subscribe button if you're not a subscriber yet, and please enable notifications so you get an instant update from me when I release future videos. Remember, money is something that you can control, and money should not control you. Your goal should be not just to earn money and not just to save money, but to have money work for you, because it is when money works for you, when you go to bed at night with a certain amount of money, and when you wake up in the morning with more money because your money was working for you, which is where I'm at, which is where I want each and every one of my subscribers to be, which is why I started this Ignition Time channel. If you can go to bed with X dollars and you can wake up in the morning with a number that's greater than X, that, my friends, is true financial freedom. That is Ignition Time. That is the Ignition lifestyle. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, please click like below. Please click subscribe. Please enable notifications so you get instant updates about future videos. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.